Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Laura Rubenstein, the CEO Whisperer, or your CEO Whisperer. And today I've got a CEO with us to reveal insights from the C-suite for the C-suite, and that is Camille Leon. She's the founder of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. Hi, Camille.
Hi, Laura. Thank you so much for welcoming on today.
I'm so glad you're here because I know you've had quite the journey, and I was hoping you could tell everyone about how you landed in this role as founder of the Holistic Chamber. I'm a member, and I just admire all you've done with it.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your membership, by the way. Our members make all the difference in our ongoing expansion. I can tell you that if you had asked me 10 years ago, would I be doing this, I would have said, what? No way. But 4 years ago, what had been a beta test started going out of state and is now international, coast to coast in the US and Canada. And our fingertips are branching out into other areas now as well. Way back when it was started kind of as a online directory for finding more holistic and natural professionals and practitioners. How do you find a good acupuncturist wherever you are? How do you find a hypnotherapist that you can refer your friends and family to? And we check references on all of our members because we want to represent a higher quality in this particular market. And then kind of naturally, organically, we had people ask us about starting local chapters, and we now have about 70 chapters in the US and Canada and about 1,600 members.
Nice. That's a great accomplishment from a directory site to an actual chamber site. It's wonderful where you've got meetings going on all across the countries, and that's really nice. And hearing that you're expanding, that's exciting.
It is very exciting. I don't know if you can see it, but this is my list over here of incoming chapters, and about 10 of these are new within the last 30 days.
Wow. Wow. You're a busy woman. Getting those chapters up and running, I'm sure. So tell me, do you consider yourself a visionary or a technician as a C-level leader?
You know, it used to be, I think, that I was a bit of a technician. And I know that I still have to bridge back and forth between the two, but almost anybody around me these days thinks of me as the visionary. And you actually kind of alluded to one of the challenges is, like, originally we were an online directory and all the artwork was for online, so it was low resolution. And now that we're live local chapters, we're like, oh gosh, we've got to upgrade everything to high resolution so that it can be actually used in different formats as well. So I'm not the technical one who's taking care of that. I'm the visionary who's going, how do I hire somebody who can take that on?
What are the challenges you face as a visionary, and what are some of the solutions you've come up to those challenges?
You know, I think some of the challenges have a lot to do with communications. How can I communicate my vision to people who would like the idea but don't necessarily understand it because they're not used to thinking about how do we combine holistic with Chamber of Commerce? Are there actually holistic ways of doing business? So, you know, one of the challenges is communication. One of the other challenges is just recognizing that we're doing something that's not usually done and takes a little more time and a little more thought. Fortunately, I'm surrounded with holistic healers and intuitive counselors. So when I need a new idea for finding a new solution, there's usually somebody nearby who can help me stretch my perspective to find a new way to do it.
So help us stretch our perspectives. What are some of the new things you've actually been able to create by consulting with your holistic community?
Gosh, well, we have found professional liability insurance, as an example, for the holistic healers who have, from a business perspective, felt left out of the what does it take to put together a business? What does it take to get my passion from a hobby to I'm in business and I'm offering this service to other people, or I have a product I really believe in, and I've always been maybe a homemaker, or I've always held a job working for somebody else, and now I'm really more of a solopreneur, and that's a different game. So one of my challenges has been, starting to help our members play in a new playing field. So I'll go to acupuncturists sometimes just for that energetic shift. I've gone to hypnotherapists to help me dig a little deeper into my subconscious. Just like everybody else, very often our beliefs about who we are based in childhood or in emotional memories. I try not to use the word emotional baggage, but I think most of us have some that is potentially holding us back.
Sounds like you're using your community, people you put together, to help you do your job better.
There's that old term, practice what you preach. And I try to, as much as possible, practice what I preach. Though some people would say, balance. Holistic is all about balance. And I'm pretty sure I'm not known for my balance when it comes to work ethic and some of those things. All things in moderation, including moderation.
There you go. So, do you have a background in the holistic healing arts at all, or before the Holistic Chamber, where were you?
I've always looked for more holistic and natural ways to take care of myself and my body. I was diagnosed with gout when I was in college, very surprising to my doctor at the time. And he had a prescription for a medication that he just said honestly was going to be really tough on my liver. And I started looking for nutritional ways to take care of my gout. And if you eat a lot of cherries and eat, believe it or not, less whole wheat, and so it's really a diet of moderation, just knowing what to eat and what things are going to impact kind of the uric acid levels in your body. So I started way back in college with that. I was in an accident once and started seeing the chiropractor right alongside with the medical doctor who was prescribing anti-inflammatories. And so I've always looked for integrated ways of taking care of myself. Actually, I have never been a healing professional myself, unless you consider healing businesses to be one of the healing arts. And then I guess I'm intuitive in that way.
So what did you do if you weren't a holistic healer but you healed businesses? Were you a business consultant of sorts, or what did you do before the Holistic Chamber?
I worked in program management, and as part of program management, promotions. So I worked for cause-oriented organizations and also for more typical, businesses, for-profit and non-profit, I guess you would say. I wasn't really a healer of businesses back then. I was a program manager who just had a lot of promotional aspects to my position. And my grandmother had a stroke. My mother had a double mastectomy, and I was sitting at the corner of 5th and Figueroa in downtown LA going, gosh, this does not bode well for me if I stay headed in the same direction. So originally I jumped out of that job without knowing quite where I was going to end up. A leap of faith, if you will. And it took a little while, but the Holistic Chamber of Commerce is what showed up, and it's where I keep attracting abundance. And when you're talking law of attraction, you sometimes have to sit back and say, what am I attracting, and go with that.
So it was a natural evolution to be involved with the holistic community and support them with your business insights. That's great.
Somewhat organic.
That's great. So, you talked about having the challenges of being able to communicate your vision. What do you think gets leaders stuck in their jobs?
I think that we sometimes get stuck in our perspectives of who we are, what I think my job should be, and also we get stuck in what other people think we should be and we should be doing. And so there are really two boxes there, right? The box that I've put myself in and the box that other people have put me in. And so one of the big challenges is, how do I get out of my own way, and how do I also help others see me in the next step of my evolution, which is what's going to allow the organization and the business to keep evolving.
So how do you do that?
So you go see some holistic and intuitive healers who are going to just help you tap in to different ideas, to deeper roots of what might have gotten you to where you are, and ways to just kind of water your garden differently so that you can see new flowers, new blooms, if you will, come to life. Another tool that I use that's a little bit out of the box is when I need to get out of my own box, I will go take off on some adrenaline rush adventure that is going to pop me through one fear, because mostly what holds us back is fear of how are people going to see me, how are they going to respond. So I have been known to jump out of an airplane, drive some race cars, go scuba diving. I've eaten some rather odd foods in pursuit of what's it feel like to do things differently.
Nice. I also recommend trapeze flying for that.
Oh, yeah, and to that I want to say, that sounds great for you. Not so sure I want to go there. But it's right in line with what I'm talking about, and I can see how that would really have the same impact. Right now on my to-do list is helicopter flight.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So tell us, what is the biggest corporate crisis you've had to deal with in your company?
I think the thing that people forget about when you're running a growing organization is that you're responsible for not just your own paycheck, but other people's paychecks. And we've got financial commitments as well as our commitment to the message that we're getting out there. So for me, the biggest crisis was simply one of, we've got bills to pay, and I see the money that's coming in next month, but I see the bills that are due next week. And, there are a lot of sources of money. It's just figuring out how to tap into them and then taking the steps that bring them into manifestation now, today, so I can write the checks that are due now, today.
Do you have any specific advice for others dealing with this cash flow issue? What to do that could really help them bring in that money? You said there's a lot of sources of money, and how do they figure out how to step into that and bring in the money?
I don't know that I have any solid advice. I have a lot of input and ideas. My first step is always shifting the words I'm using. So I used to always begin with, well, I can't afford that. And once I started shifting to, how can I afford that? Right there, just reframing from a statement of what's not possible to a question about what could be possible made all the difference in the world. And then I started looking at, well, what can I afford? So that I was able to start using the positive statement, I can afford this, I can afford that. And I still use questions a lot of ways, not always expecting the answer in terms of how to do it to show up, but in terms of attracting the answer that I'm looking for. So how can I receive more money? How can I find more members? Can I add another product or service to the mix of what we offer that's going to end up increasing our budget and also providing more benefit to our customers? And in our case, our customers are twofold, right? They're the members who sign up to be supported by us and also to support our cause and community. And then our other customers, a little less direct, are all the consumers out there who want to find holistic and natural solutions, not just for their health, but also for the environment they live in. And now more and more people are going, there have to be other ways to do business. There have to be better ways to do business. Is the Holistic Chamber of Commerce helping their members find more holistic ways of doing business? And so I'm looking for products and services that allow me to, A, keep a balanced budget, and B, serve my members and the consumers more effectively.
Given that you're also wanting to change the way business is done more holistically, is there something that other non-holistic businesses could benefit from doing business holistically, or what would doing business holistically mean to a non-holistic business?
Yeah, and I don't know that there are specifically non-holistic businesses, but I'll certainly answer how I define more holistic ways of doing business. One is to look at relationships first and recognize that if we're paying attention to our relationships, that the money will come along with it. So if you're selling something, just being a little more honest with, gee, this is a great product or service for Jack Smack, but it doesn't make any sense for Joe Schmo. And so I recognize that the relationship is more important, and I don't need this person's business if it doesn't make sense for them as well as for me. It's also, I think, finding the balance between short-term results are important. I need money to pay the bills. Long-term consequences of what's the potential impact on the people around me, the world around me, the environment around me. So balancing short-term results with long-term consequences. I think those are two of the key components to holistic business.
I love it. You have a great message you're sharing out there with the world. And so what skills do you rely upon most to be most effective in your leadership role?
Oh, wow. That's every day is a little bit different. But I'm a talker, so I think one of the skills I rely upon most is my ability to communicate. And flexibility also, my ability to go, oh, that's not working. What could I do, or how could I communicate differently so that I get the results that I'm really looking for? Or is there an extra level of awareness so that I can recognize that, wow, I may think this is going to work for you, but you know, there are times when you just don't see it, and if I learn more about you, I can help you see it. But there are other times when it doesn't matter how much I learn about you, it's not a good fit, and I have to recognize that to let that person move on to what's good for them, and I'll spend more time doing what's going to be good for me and what's going to be good for the Holistic Chamber of Commerce.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing that there's so much we can do with communication and putting those relationships first and communicating and listening, really listening. So how do you impact corporate culture in your company?
Oh, you know, it's funny. I think that culture is both trickle up and trickle down. Easy to say that it's all trickle down, and I do believe that our leaders show the way. And at the same time, one of the ways that I think our corporate culture works is that I'm a good listener as well. Kiana? Oh, she's gone now, so I can't get confirmation on that. I think that smart leaders are listening to their people, and they're appreciating their people on their team, whether that's staff or other colleagues, and implementing whenever and wherever they can, as long as it makes sense. And also, you know, having conversations about why does one thing work and why does another thing not work, and is there a way to take that great idea and fine-tune it, or, as I like to say, massage the details so it really does fit in with the overall mix. Which gets me to the, you know, I'm really solution-oriented. People who start with a problem, if they stick with why it's a problem, then they're not my people. If they start with a problem and then go into, so here are the options for fixing it, here are the possible solutions we can consider and choose from, then that makes sense, and that's a part of our culture around here, and that's something that's important to me, and I look for in our chapter presidents, and I encourage in our chapters.
It's so important. I know my father always said, no problems, only solutions.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Yeah. There's no problems, only solutions. So if you could change your organization in one way or some way, what would that be?
I have this big vision, and I'm thrilled to say, by the way, that our ball of wax does keep getting bigger and better. And at the same time, to get from A to Z is, yeah, if I could change anything, I would have that big infusion of cash capital so I could set up the scalability solutions that would allow us to jump from A to Z much more quickly. Because right now, our challenges have to do with how do we accommodate this level of growth. When I look at our map of the US and Canada, I see all this space that we're still in the process of filling, and that's a scalability issue. So at the same time, we're doing it right now, one member and one new chapter at a time, and so if that's the way it goes, then I'm okay with that too.
Right. What do you think are the biggest needs of CEO and other leaders today?
I think that it's really easy to get out of balance when you are in this position. It's really easy to take on all the responsibility and very often think that you're the one who knows the best and you're the one who's got to make it happen. And smart CEOs, and I've seen Richard Branson really back this up, right? Smart CEOs are going, who can do this and who can do this better than I can? Is there a way for me to find an expert who this is already their strength, and can I create a collaboration with them or a partnership with them? Can I hire them? Can I, is there a way for me to delegate this? I'm a visionary, so very often I need to find a technician to actually make something happen. There have been probably 3 really smart moves on my part. One was to find an assistant early on who, she's magical. She's still with us 4 years later. She started as a volunteer intern. She is now full-time paid staff, and she's amazing. Bookkeeper and webmaster. Those 3 people were critical for us, and very embarrassing to say, the thing that took me 8 hours to do takes them about 8 minutes. But so I think for CEOs, it's recognizing that you don't have to do it all yourself. You do have to be able to figure out what do you delegate next, and who do you delegate it to, and how do you make that a win-win for all parties.
I don't know if you can relate to this, but maybe you can. It sounds like you've gone through some phases here. What advice would you give to the CEO who has a hard time delegating?
Get over yourself. Yeah, so there are a wide variety of holistic techniques, a ton of intuitive, they'll call themselves intuitive healers, but you could also say intuitive counselors. I actually know some intuitive business consultants who will, help you figure out what might be at the root cause of your hesitation to delegate. I mean, our website, so we've expanded the definition of holistic. It's not just mind, body, spirit. It's mind, body, spirit, business, budget, planet. So I think for the CEOs that are having a hard time delegating, and I do understand that, I'm a recovering control freak. I'm a recovering perfectionist. And some days I'm having a hard time finding the recovery. I'm still stuck in the control and perfection. But I think CEOs who are working with coaches and open to there are other approaches will find the way to get beyond their ego in order to delegate more effectively. And they can work with somebody they find at www.holisticchamberofcommerce.com. Had to get that in.
Absolutely. And that's why I started the Your CEO Whisperer site, show, and services, to really talk to CEOs and help them find those other perspectives, the things that are their blind spots. And so as a coach myself, that's what I will help them do, and help them really move forward, get unstuck, and give them excellent resources in the holistic world, whether it's through the Holistic Chamber of Commerce and great practitioners you have there, and these interviews. So your information, your wisdom, your encouragement, your inspiration, your ideas about bringing a holistic mindset to business and options and ways of solving problems is invaluable. So thank you so much, Camille, for being on the CEO Whisperer show. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll come back again with another edition of Your CEO Whisperer, and feel free to be in touch with us at yourceowhisperer.com. Bye for now.